Hey there, everybody. I'm the God Kane, and this here is Anime First. Today marks the first episode of what will be an ongoing series of anime reviews and recommendations for shows old and new. Original, right? Before we get into more self-deprecation, I have here with me Nikszson, who has his own channel here and one of these ballin'-ass annotations you see on the computer screens nowadays.
Hi, everybody.
Our subject of interest today is a show called Konosuba, or Konosuba, God's Blessing on this wonderful world. Not going through the Japanese title just yet. This is a more recently finished anime, and whether or not indicative of its quality, it's also been green-lighted for a second season. It's popular out there, man.
Now, I noticed it's actually a manga and a light novel as well.
We're gonna have to get into that sometime later too, because we didn't hear about that shit. We didn't see it in no Barnes and Noble or whatever. You know. Yeah, this it was based on the manga. This anime came out at the beginning of the year, actually, sometime partway through January, and it takes a familiar seeming premise, and it sort of twists it. It takes it off the rails, but on the rails, in what could be said the best way possible. Our protagonist, Kazuma Sato, 16-year-old shut-in, quote-unquote neat, finds his way into a world of wonders and more through his untimely and hilarious death.
Nah, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but just know it
involved a man laying on his back and pissing himself while he entered the afterlife.
It was embarrassing as hell. Anybody dies like that in reality,
punk bitch.
Be thankful you're dead. You do not want to live to experience what happens to you.
Oh man. So, upon his death, he winds up in a chair across from Aqua, the blue-haired goddess, who has a hell of a time just making fun of his situation. There's a moment in their interactions where he calls her a bitch, and by the time you see that, you'll probably agree with him. Through some horrifying some interesting circumstances, Kazuma finds himself with a new lease on life, or a new attempt at it anyway. He can either take the red pill and go off with the rest of the souls and do whatever, or he can actually play for his way back, so to speak, by defeating the Devil King. An interesting thing to note, by the way, but for the MMORPG connection, is that he was buying a game before he died, and it's fairly evident that it might have been said game that we wind up, imitating the genre of, which is a very popular genre in anime, such as Excel World, Dot Hack, Log Horizon, Sword Art Online.
No Game, No Life.
Bunch of shit we've been inundated with lately. But I personally found this to be one of the best uses of said genre and style, because it's not directly based on it. It's not like, to the point where, man, I'd love to see someone make a game of that, because I would just play that instead of watching the fucking anime. So it's at this point we're introduced to Aqua, the water goddess, who judges humans and send them to Axel. She's more spastic than the bitch you dated on prom night. She winds up taking along with him to the town of Axel for his quest to defeat the Devil King. She offered him anything he wanted, any tool, any ability, anything he wanted, and as retribution, he took her, which is hilarious.
Yeah, karma is a bitch in many different forms.
Well, on his part, though, it sort of backfires anyway, because lo and behold, when they reach the new world, Aqua is useless. Like, she gets the title, Useless Goddess. It's hilarious and terrible for so many reasons. You almost want to sympathize with Kazuma, except he's got a little megalomaniac in him. He's kind of a douche, but he's not completely unsympathetic, which is a plus in his corner for sure.
By the way, the town Axel is apparently the furthest town away from this Devil King, which sets the MMO standard right there. You start at this town and you work your way closer to him in order to defeat him.
Assumedly, they haven't actually. In the 2 episodes we watched, they don't do shit to get out of there.
Right.
They don't go on a travel. In fact, what Kazuma decides to do, because he's got the mind of, a 16-year-old gamer, he says to himself, we gotta grind here. We have to grind so we can fight. he picks the class, and it's fun that he gets to actually do this. Before he dies, before he goes into Axel, he gets to pick the class of adventurer. Out of the dozens of other classes he could have had, this one works sort of like freelancer in Bravely Default, in which he has access to a lot of useful skills, even if the stats aren't the best. And Aqua takes up the mantle of Archpriest, which has incredibly high everything else but intelligence. Very befitting of the character itself. So the two engage on a few inventions. Well, actually engage in some bitch boy duties first. They wind up doing a lot of cleaning and imagine everything you can do in an MMO these days that isn't killing something. Cooking, cleaning, chopping wood, doing...
Here's the montage.
Her fucking vomit is rainbow. It's beautiful. Also, we were really taken by the anime stuff. I mean, I can't really speak for anyone else's qualifications on details and animation, but I do know it's vibrant as shit, and that already keeps me watching. I love bright colors. This show does that well. And
what anime fan doesn't like bright colors?
And then also, what's a fun part of it to look at is the expressions. They play with facial expressions a lot. They make it a part of the humor, which is Konosuba's biggest strength as part of its chosen genre, which is a comedy, more or less, in my opinion. No, actually, it's a comedy. There's no disputing it. A lot of the jokes are observational gags. They can be highly one note, so they can't. You don't really get to a lot of the sophisticated stuff. Really early, and there isn't that much of it to go around. But it reaches who it needs to. Its humor is very present. It's very there. And they have a lot of fun with facial expressions. Aqua makes the best faces. Alright, so with all of that said, what can we take away from Konosuba? What can we really say about it? It's funny, it's bright, it's charming, it's got a cast of characters that you'll definitely want to see succeed and fail.
I will say that I got a really good laugh from the series. Like, just in the first 2 episodes that we watched alone, I was blown away. The animation, the humor, the fact that Kazuma hasn't fallen on any tits yet in the first 2 episodes. I was alarmed. I was worried that this might be a harem anime, but it doesn't show to be like that. And I was really worried that it might be like a second Chaos Head, basically, with the shut-in teenager.
Man, you gotta put me on to that.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another episode on Chaos Head.
We'll look into that. Stay tuned. Yeah, so I'm the God King.
And Nikszson.
And we signing out.
Peace.